A new poll says that former Governor Andrew Cuomo is outpacing others in the mayor's race, and he hasn't even officially announced that he's running.
Attention in the race, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who has not even announced that he's running.
I like him. I think he has integrity. I think he's a good politician.
At least his father had integrity. He has no integrity. It's all about him.
This is someone who has intentionally delayed his launch as late as possible so as to answer as few questions as he can.
A new poll puts Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani in a distant second place. Cuomo enters the race with 38%, according to the poll conducted by Tusk Strategies, a firm whose CEO has been advising Cuomo.
Now, in this newest poll conducted by Progressive Democrats of America, it shows 32% of those polled picked Cuomo as their favorite candidate, and trailing behind is Mayor Adams and State Assembly member Zohran Mamdani, tied at 6%.
On Monday, the former governor scored the endorsement of Bronx Congressman Richie Torres, who called on him to resign back in 2021, citing numerous sexual harassment complaints.
What has changed?
Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams are the worst combination of leaders I have seen in the recent history of New York. You know, in life, sometimes you never know what you had until you've lost it, and we're feeling the loss of Andrew Cuomo.
If Andrew Cuomo somehow loses the primary, he is on the general election ballot, as is the current mayor, as will be a Republican. I can tell you that I think Andrew Cuomo will win the Democratic nomination and be mayor. I can tell you there's a greater than zero chance that he'll lose the primary. And I can tell you that there's a high probability that if Andrew Cuomo is not the nominee, the people of New York will find a way to keep the socialists from being mayor. Quite confident.
One campaign for mayor is the first to have their ads up on TV.
I'm Assemblymember Zohran Mamdani, and I have a different vision.
Polling in second place, Zohran Mamdani's long-shot bid for mayor now buying prime TV time slots on SNL and the Knicks playoffs tonight. He's shooting for younger voters and a layup on Andrew Cuomo.
Cuomo's running for Adams' second term.
What does that mean?
It's the same corruption, it's the same donors, it's the same agenda.
Until now, Mamdani's socialist campaign has lived mostly on social media.
Ideas we're fighting for are popular.
In fundraising, he's the first to max out by hitting the city's $8 million spending cap.
We know New Yorkers in crisis.
If you're wondering what about this Cuomo ad you've seen on TV, it's funded by an outside super PAC, not by Cuomo's campaign.
Paid for by Fix the City.
Now a similar PAC is raising money to help Mamdani compete with Cuomo's big donors like Bill Ackman, who gave Cuomo $250,000.
So I think Mamdani will follow that same suit. He'll run for mayor, he'll lose, but then he'll try to take AOC seat when she moves on to either Senate or her presidential / VP run. Mamdani's young. He's under 35. He's like 34, something like that, 35. He's young. So he's got tons of time. And that person is correct. One of your other chatters, by the way, said Larry's on heroin. If I was, I would tell you, because I'm a libertarian and all drugs should be legal. There we go. So take that.
Andrew Cuomo, you have to very seriously be thinking about how you're running this campaign. He just literally on Thursday had a big campaign event that he press released. He doesn't announce very many of them, and then he didn't even take questions afterward. This is becoming his MO.
First of all, upstart candidates should not run and cannot generally win in a open mayoral race.
Nobody did opposition research on this guy. And now it's becoming clearer and clearer each and every day exactly who he is, what he represents, and the New Yorkers don't want it. And as far as an open path, this is anything goes now. This is a neck and neck race. And the idea that this, I'm going to call him a cocky communist, decides to take off for Uganda at this stage of the game, running for mayor of the city of New York. He thinks he's got it in the bag.
But there are four who endorsed Mamdani there on the left. On the right, twice as many who have not endorsed, including, as you said, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat minority leader in the House of Representatives. So Mamdani isn't even winning over his own party, at least not at this point.
The only real way for Mamdani to lose would be for Cuomo and Adams to drop out and for Sliwa to be the only remaining candidate. But they're not going to do that either.
Or for, as I said, for Adams and Sliwa to be pushed down and for the public debate to say, if you want to stop a socialist, the only way to do it is Cuomo.
Cuomo 45-23, round 2. Round 3, he's up to 46. 4, he's up to 48. You see how they keep knocking one off each round. And then in round 5, in this version of it, Cuomo would cross 50%. Mamdani would still be in second place. And that gap between them would never really change. They actually played this out to a 6th round, but it would end here if somebody crossed 50% in the actual election. So it's an interesting dynamic because for Cuomo, if Mamdani does emerge as the clear second place candidate in here, then this suggests that as odd sort of as the system is, as complicated it is, it's not that chaotic, actually. It's pretty orderly as they work through these rounds. And I think if you're Cuomo and Mamdani is your main opponent here, your chief rival, you kind of like some of the internal numbers here. Let me show you what I mean here. Look at this. It's New York City Democratic mayoral primary. White voters are not a majority here. They are definitely a plurality. And actually, that's where Mamdani does best. He's only trailing by Cuomo by 2 points among white voters. If you look closer in these numbers, Mamdani does best with voters who call themselves liberal, very liberal. He does best, as we say here, with white voters, higher income, college educated, all of these things. You look at the black vote, this is more than a third of the electorate in the Democratic primary. Look at that. Cuomo at 50%. Mamdani isn't even in second place there. 2-1 for Cuomo among Latinos. This is where the majority of the votes are in the Democratic primary in New York City, not among white voters. So Cuomo is drawing strength from the groups that are the largest in this primary.
Following in second place, though, was Zohran Mamdani, a relatively newcomer to the political world. But a recent poll conducted by comptroller candidate Justin Brannan's campaign, look at this, it showed Mamdani edging out Cuomo 35% to Cuomo's 31%. And that is big news.
What this really shows is that this is a toss-up race. Andrew Cuomo can be beaten. And look, when the emperor doesn't have the full amount of clothes, to all the constellation of Democratic organizations, labor unions, activists, elected officials who don't like Andrew Cuomo, now that they see that he can be beaten, to all of them come out.
Andrew Cuomo's campaign responded with data from an independent poll conducted around the same time, showing Cuomo winning by 12 points.
Going into this primary, I just don't see a world in where former Governor Andrew Cuomo doesn't win this primary. You take a look at those numbers. It's an insurmountable lead when you're winning by double digits on the 10th round.
It's only about 9 points.
No, it's about, but in the 10th round, he's still winning by double digits.
It won't take 10 rounds. It'll be about 8.
I'm talking about if you play it out.
AOC endorsing Adrian Adams is a plus for Andrew Cuomo. That is going to be a push down from Lander, and she's going to pick up some numbers, which will more likely go to Cuomo earlier than they would have from Landers, because she's out before Lander is at this point. And then Mamdani's numbers will also come down because she will make a case, I'm more experienced, I'm more qualified than Mamdani is, and AOC endorsed me too.
And she's very good on the debate stage. And let's not forget, she has the support of Attorney General Tish James, which comes with an entire organization. Mayor Adams is playing chess. These kids are playing checkers. He's wringing his hands right now, hoping for a Mamdani victory, because if Mamdani wins his primary, Mayor Adams has a good shot of winning re-election with just 25% of the vote. You know it.
And he's got a shot. And he's got a shot with Cuomo and Mamdani and Sliwa and himself and another guy. Okay. For him to not acknowledge ever even going to Israel, if not your first trip, what about your second or third?
But what he says is he's going to stay in New York and talk to voters here.
That's a cop-out. Because what he didn't want to say is, yes, I will go to Israel someday, because that's against the DSA message.
Yeah, that's right.
Simple as that.
That's right. Listen.
Neither one of you seems to think that Zohran Mamdani would be good for the country.
I don't really care about Zohran Mamdani for the country. I just don't think he'll be a good mayor for New York.
In the last few days, I've gotten sort of a unified response on the bombing of Iran, of the nuclear facilities in Iran, and a unified response on their concern about Zohran. So I don't know what that tells you. As I say, I think they're overly sensitive on the New York City mayoral race.
I think the larger picture is that most New Yorkers are frustrated and want change and see very few options. They've got Mamdani, who most are going to view as too far to the left. Mm-hmm. You got Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, who's too far to the right. Then you got the disaster that is Eric Adams. And then a little-known guy that most folks don't know about, independent Jim Walden, who I'm supporting because as a moderate centrist, he's the only option. He is the option somewhere in between all the radicals who I think can still bring change without blowing it all up or taking us in the ditch. And I think that's where most Americans actually are, is in the middle, and they very seldom have viable options.
I'm soft. Zohran wins the primary, but it's a soft prediction. I could see Cuomo winning the primary. I will do a cop out and say soft Zoran plus like a few points after RCV. But I think election night will be very interesting because you're going to want to see how close they are. So if like Cuomo's like way up on election night, I think he'll win. If it's like Cuomo plus 10 or something, that's good for him. But if it's like close, if we're like sitting here on Wednesday morning and it's Cuomo going into RCV, Cuomo plus 4 or something, I would not want to be Cuomo.
New York Times, the liberal lefty paper of record, just destroyed Zoran Mamdani in their editorial today, said he's completely unqualified. His ideas are extremist, would be the ruin of this city, is effectively what they just said. So they said, don't rank Mamdani. And then they said, whatever your feelings are about Cuomo, rank him somewhere. They had a mixed view of Cuomo. And then they said Whitney Tilson is the heir to Mike Bloomberg, and if you're a moderate, vote for him. So that was I was thrilled by that.
What are we going to see in November if Whitney Tilson doesn't get traction?
Well, I am only running in the Democratic primary, and realistically, with 8 days left, there's a very narrow path for me to win the primary.
Movement that's happening within the polls. We did this poll here at Pix 11 with Emerson College this week, and The Hill showing Zoran Mamdani with single digits now against Andrew Cuomo, and then there's the rest of the field, of course. So if you're, there's the numbers right there in the final round of ranked choice voting, would be Andrew Cuomo 54% to Mamdani at 46%. If you're Cuomo, what are you thinking? And if you're Mamdani, what are you thinking?
If you're Mamdani, you're saying it's game time. I double down on everything I want, and I need that AOC endorsement ASAP to put me over the top. We can't have one of these last-minute Maya Wiley endorsements that didn't really do enough too late. If you're Mamdani, I'm saying.
Interesting is both Mamdani and Cuomo, regardless of which one wins and loses, is likely to be in November. And then you have the current mayor, Eric Adams, Curtis Sliwa on the Republican side in all likelihood, and it's not ranked choice. So you could have a scenario where someone gets 40% and becomes mayor with only a minority of the vote because 3 or 4 other candidates could split the remaining 60.
Yeah, well, what's his name? Zofran or something? Or like, isn't Zofran like a drug? A Zohan? I don't know. Zoran or something, whatever.
Yeah, they're...
Everybody's scared, you know what, about what his policies would be. He's done nothing.
He's got no chance.
He does.
No, he doesn't.
Ranked choice voting, everybody has a chance.
That's right. That's silly.
Mamdani is as popular as he is. Who is funding this guy?
Democratic socialist Zoran Mamdani declares victory as the Democratic nominee for New York City mayor. Disgraced ex-governor Cuomo calling him to concede without ruling out an independent ticket run in November. Wow.
I will be your Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City. And it's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism.
Tonight was not our night. Tonight was Assemblyman Mamdani's night. I called him. I congratulated him.
Joining us now is New York City Mayor Eric Adams.
There's money coming in. He doesn't go, Maria, he doesn't go from 1% to 50% without money. There's accusations, and let the Department of Justice do their own homework. There's accusations that foreign money is involved.
I hope New Yorkers, will do the right thing today. But if they don't, we got to make sure that we defeat him in November.